Hey everybody, it's Brent in Central Arkansas. The recirculating DWC is done, thank goodness. This was quite the build. I'm going to show you how I went about doing all this. Alright, we're cleaning up this area here. Fawn 1 area. I've decided to go ahead and do recirculating deep water culture. 2 4x8 beds right here. There are the 2 4x8 boxes. Still have to put the bottoms on. And that's reclaimed wood or repurposed wood from the deck again. And that's the majority of why I'm doing this. I don't want that wood to go to waste. They're bad, not really bad, but weak areas. That's where I had to replace it in the deck, but it'll do just great for the recirculating DWC. Now that's approximate location of one of the boxes. The other box is going to go right in here. Okay, I've got my 2 OSBs in, and I've put the block where the first one's going to go here. So what I need to do is move one of the OSBs over to the fawn platform over there, and then screw all this in and then flip it over. This one is going to have a 2x8 running down and sitting on top of that, and that's to support the middle of the DWC. As you can see here, I've put screws in, and I learned after sticking the tip of that Phillips head screwdriver all the way through at least halfway through my finger here, that you need to pre-drill these holes because this OSB is hard to drill into. Anyway, these are the screws I'm using. They are, as you can see there, that's what they are, and they have the Torx 20 head right there, and I've got that head right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and tighten all these down. Okay, as you can see, I finished the bed and flipped it over on its own blocks. This is where this one's actually going to go. And I've got a lot of rain going on right now. We've got some flooding in the greenhouse, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Alright, so in this one you can see there's little imperfections in different places, like here. And that's because I'm using reclaimed wood, and I picked the best possible situation. Now this part of the OSB, this side rather, is smoother. OSB has 2 sides. One's a little rougher than the other. There's some holes over there. There's a little bit of somewhat rotted wood up there. I'm going to show you how I square that up and get it ready for the plastic. Taking a jigsaw and cutting pieces of this 1/4 inch. It's not really plywood. It's like a finishing, well, I guess a plywood, but I've had that. That's what I put the shelf on the DWC and the heated greenhouse, and I've had this laying around for a long time. Anyway, I'm taking pieces and I'm putting them in places that need them, like you see over there and over here, and that should provide a good surface for the plastic to lay against. Made a tee out of some scrap. That's going to be the center support. There's the tee underneath. And here I put in some deck screws to secure it. 4 on top, and the tee was also put together with deck screws. And we got a lot of rain. It does it through here. That's why I put that French drain in through here. It just kind of rolls through. And we got a lot of rain yesterday. Anyway, it also affects the greenhouse. But back to what we're doing here. You can see here that I've got 6mm extra heavy-duty black plastic, and I never really wanted to use that But I noticed when I did my no-weed garden, I used that. It may even have been a 4 mil that I used on the no-weed garden. But after a whole season of growing, I pulled that out, and I wasn't gentle at all when I was cleaning up, and it didn't rip anywhere. So a whole season is still black, and that's what we're going to use anyway to put inside these 4x8 DWC tables. And it will be covered completely. There won't be any sun getting to it, so hopefully they'll last a real long time. So in order to drain these, because it's a recirculating system, it has to drain regularly as new nutrient comes in, or recycled nutrient comes in. And that's the purpose of these right here. These are bulkhead fittings, and I had to drill a hole here. I wanted it on the bottom, and you can see that it is not wide enough to go through this 2x8. So what I had to do was I had to drill a wide one first with a hole saw, and then a thinner one, and that way this will sit recessed, and I'll show you that in a minute. Also, I wanted to show you that the way the system works, this is the way it's going to be aligned. It's going to have a fitting going, piece of pipe going up to an elbow, and then the fitting will be in the 2x4 here, and then the drain will come out the other side. So let me install it, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is it installed, and this is a dry run obviously because the plastic's not on it yet. So anyway, this pipe stands up tall here, and this will set the level of where I want it to drain out. I can tilt it down, and the further I tilt it down, the lower the level the water is going to become inside the whole system. The plastic in a roll is the width that you see here, and it's 25 foot long. It's 10 foot by 25 foot long. So I've measured the sides in and 2 inches down on either side all the way around, and I've come up with a 6x10 that would cover this quite nicely. So being that the width is already 10, once I undo this, it'll be 10 foot wide, and so all I had to do was cut it 6-inch lengths. So just unroll it to 6 foot and cut it, and that's what I did for both of these. Alright, in case that was a little bit confusing, I took the piece and I turned it sideways, and that's actually the way it's going to go. The folded out part is 10 foot, and that's going to cover the 8 foot part of the bed here. The bed is 4 foot by 8 foot. So if I cut 2 6-foot pieces, one here and one there, I've cut out 12 foot of the 25 foot length, and that tells me that I can make 2 more complete beds with that one piece of plastic. It doesn't matter how good you put the level on it, how level you think it is. It's always best to water level. Water is true level. So on this end it's a little higher, and it is the lowest point right over here. So I've got some spacers and shims there I created, and I got a bottle jack there. I'm going to jack it up ever so slightly and shim it till where it's the proper level all the way around. Okay, I've lifted it up and I've put shims wherever I need to put shims to help support it. Now I've got these railings from the old deck board, and I'm going to put those on the edge here to secure the plastic all the way around. Alright, trim installed all the way around, and it just holds the plastic down and allows for bumping incidentals and keeps from tearing the plastic. So now we need to cut off the excess plastic down there. Plastic removed. I'm going to show you how this is adjustable to lower the level if you want. Let me see if I get the drain in the picture at the same time. See that? There I go. That comes out. Raise it above. About right there. It's below this, and it keeps it level. Now this is what I've been using for years, and it's 1/2 inch, and I think with this application I'm going to get a little thicker piece, and also it's going to be supported. There's going to be an air pocket between each cup and the water, and I'll show you how I'll do all that later. But right now the 1/2 inch is just to cover, keep stuff out, and light. There we went. We went and got 3/4 inch. It has an R value of 4, so a little more insulation, a little more stability. And now it's time to mark these to cut out the holes. And you can see here that I come in 6 inches from both edges and I make the first mark. So every 6 inches, on the end I went in 6 inches on both sides, and I drew a line all the way across, and then I did it every foot going all the way down. And then I did it also starting, as you can see here, I put the tape measure on 6 on the edge, and then I marked it every foot here, and so at wherever it crosses the line here. So now what you have is you have 32 slots. You've got 4 going the length of the 4-foot side, and you have 8 going the length of the 8-foot side. So you have 8 times 4 is 32, right? So let me cut the holes. Alright, now we need to get the right level, and it is about the right level. Looking into the cup here, you can see the water is, I'd say about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch up. So all I need to do to make sure that the roots are good is make sure the roots reach the bottom of the cup when I put them in here. So the overall level of the bed is good, but there's still some bowing in because this is an 8-foot length, and let me show you what I'm going to do to correct that. Well, we added some tomato twine supports, and I did it every foot. Start from the end of the foot because the holes start 6 inches in, then go every foot. So essentially the supports are between every hole along the long side, the 8-foot. So what I did was I took off one of the strips here, one strip at a time, and then I put a screw every foot, and I wrapped tomato twine around. I tied an overhand knot here, and I put it through the other screw, and then I tied a trucker's hitch. Now I'm not going to explain a trucker's hitch. If you want to know how to do a trucker's hitch, just Google it. But anyway, put all 8 there. I'm about to finish this one, and I'll put the trim on, and then we'll be done with the supports. Well, this one's done except for the input, nutrient input coming from the valve over there. And I got to finish up the drain, but all that'll be done after that table is done. Alright, as you can see here, I've got some little sponges in here. These are craft sponges. They're 2.5 inch, and they fit perfectly in that 3 inch from that cup. Got real lucky there. I think they were $11 for 25 of them. I've got more in order. We're going to give them a go. The sponges don't reach all the way down into the water, and if I can keep them from getting saturated, that might be better. I'm not sure. But anyway, I've got the 2 plumbed together. I finished most of this one. As you can see there, I put a PVC support in there. I did it on both of them, as you can see over there. And that's because the length, even with the strings, there was a little bit of bowing. but I'm going to be growing heavier crops, cabbages and broccoli and stuff like that, so I don't want any bowing. Alright, both beds are done with the cutouts and the sponges and everything sitting and waiting on new plants. The drain has also been installed all the way over and to the return pipe here, and also I put in an air pump with 2 air lines going down, and they are in the center, 1 air stone in the center of each one of those. Not a lot of air, but we just don't want to prevent or help try to prevent anaerobic behaviors. So we have 1 air stone each one of those, right next to the support, which is tipped over now, but I'll put that back. Also, you can see that I've got a valve over there. It's turned off for the moment, but that is going to be the supply, and I'll show you what they look like. So coming from the valve over there, we'll control how much comes into it with the valve, just like the rest of the greenhouse. And it comes down, elbows down, into this fitting. You may have seen it in some of my vertical fawns before, but this fitting has 5 holes drilled to it, and they're drilled at different angles to spew out the incoming nutrient into different areas of this. It's on this end on purpose. That way it'll take its time to migrate, fully integrate, and drain out the other side over there. So that is pretty much it. The only thing left to do now is to put in some plants. Alright, I've got my nutrients, calcium nitrate, master blend, and magnesium sulfate, otherwise known as Epsom salt. I'm mixing the 2 different components, the master blend and Epsom salt in this one, and the calcium nitrate in this one. When you concentrate it, if you add anything to calcium nitrate, you could have nutrient dropout. So in large quantities of water, it doesn't happen nearly as bad. So that's why there's 2 separate containers there. Now each one of these beds are about 137 gallons according to the calculator that I used online. So I went 7 inches tall because it's not going all the way to the top, and just 3 inches shy of 4 by 8 on each measurement. So 48 minus 3 is 45 by 96 minus 3, so 93. 45 by 93 by 7, and that comes to about 127 gallons. So I'm going to mix in each one of those for 100 gallons. I'm going to take a ppm measurement, and then we'll go from there. I wanted to talk a little bit about what this is. You can see that this is similar to floating raft type techniques, except this one is not floating. This one is suspended, so there's no direct, there's a pocket of air between the net cup at the bottom of the plant and the water within the net cup. It's also maybe considered shallow water culture. I mean, what's deep water culture is 7.5 inches deep water culture. The width, the size of it, this 4x8 grow. So it's really shallow actually. So it's a shallow water culture. It's also not cracky because it recirculates, and it also has an air stone in it. So I'm simply saying all this because I don't think there's no exact definition of what things are, and in fact you can give me your opinion if you want. Doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is that I can grow some nice vegetables this way, and that's my intention. So to sum up, we have 2 4x8 beds growing 32 different types of vegetables in each one. It is suspended above the water so the foam doesn't touch the water, and it also has an air stone in each one, and the air stone is just simply a form of insurance because the pump is so cheap. I think it's like 5 watts to run 24/7. That's nothing. And it also recirculates the nutrient from the exact same place that the rest of the greenhouse gets all of its stuff. So pretty much that just ends this whole entire build. Really enjoyed it. First time growing in such a big, well, first time growing actually this way at all. I mean, there's a lot of crossover in hydroponics and things that I've done, various shallow water cultures, and you know, growing directly in fawn and all that sort of thing. So I have an idea that this will probably be successful, but we'll have to wait and see. So that's it, guys. Recirculating DWC is done. This is Brent. We'll see you guys later.